I noticed a large amount of blood pooled on the parking lot. It's evident something very bad has happened.
I had nightmares about it. It was just beyond my comprehension.
Detectives are baffled
There is no clear indication on who was responsible.
and turn to surveillance video to crack the case.
We had a camera that potentially caught the whole incident.
Shocking footage.
What's disturbing is you can see the stain on his cheek.
Leads to a trail of bodies.
8 homicides over a 4-day period. That makes it a spree killing.
Detectives must track down their killer
It was just a matter of time before he would find another victim.
before he strikes again.
Who's going to be next?
Festus, Missouri, June 29th, 2008. Jill and Tom Estes are in town for their niece's graduation party.
Nearly ready? We gotta leave in 5.
Nearly there.
Wow,
What do you
look at
think?
you.
The high school sweethearts live 300 miles away in Arkansas.
We haven't seen in years.
They were so close, such a happy couple. They were always traveling together, going out of town on trips.
With their children grown up, their 2 dogs now accompany them wherever they go.
Come on. Let's go.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Let's go.
Their dogs, they went everywhere with them. I'm surprised she didn't bring them to school with her because she just loved those dogs.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Back in Arkansas, Jill is a much-loved teaching assistant, while husband Tom is a mechanic for a railway company.
They knew where to go if they needed help. If they couldn't fix something, they'd go to Tom.
Later that evening, the Comfort Inn receptionist notices 2 dogs wandering around outside. They appear to be unattended and have blood on their fur.
Oh,
Fearing the dogs are wounded and lost, the receptionist dials 911.
there's 2 dogs here. They don't have an owner.
Officers and animal control arrived at Comfort Inn and immediately take the dog to have it checked for injuries.
Not that I can see.
There are no injuries to the small dogs.
So where's the blood coming from? Another animal, maybe?
The dogs' tags bear the names Tom and Jill Estes.
They're staying here.
The receptionist tries calling their room.
No answer.
They go to the room of the couple, knock on the door, but there's no answer.
The Estes' belongings are there, but their beds are unslept in. Detective Tom Cox is called to the Comfort Inn. Concerned for the Estes' welfare, he videos the scene.
We went to the parking lot to see if we could find their vehicle out there.
The couple's car, a red Corvette with Arkansas plates, is at the back of the car lot. A handbag sits abandoned on the front passenger seat. Close by, an ominous discovery.
I noticed a large amount of blood pooled on the parking lot and also on the rocks and bushes next to the building itself.
Detective Cox follows the blood trail.
And there was a hoop earring with blood on it laying on the rocks.
Then, another disturbing find.
We noticed 2 damaged pair of glasses. It's evident something very bad has happened. At this point, we feel we're dealing with a serious assault or a homicide.
The hotel parking lot is now a crime scene. But Tom and Jill Estes are not here. Police follow the blood trail.
The blood trail starts behind the hotel and travels around the building and out onto the main roadway.
Then, the trail simply stops.
We have an extensive amount of blood a large blood trail and no victims.
The next morning, a short distance from the hotel, a woman makes a gruesome discovery.
I immediately head to the Chip 66 gas station. When I arrive, officers are on the scene, taping the area.
Once again, there are telltale blood droplets.
This blood trail seems to be the same as the blood trail on Comfort Inn parking lot, just not as heavy.
On the other side of the fence, a terrible sight.
We find 2 bodies. A male and female, possibly in their 50s, with severe trauma to both the head and face area. The female is missing some teeth and also a sandal.
It's just a mile and a half from the Comfort Inn. Detective Cox suspects he knows who the couple are.
It seems reasonable that these bodies may be the same couple missing from the Comfort Inn.
When police contact the Estes family, they discover the couple were in town for a party at Jill's sister's home. This photo of them was taken just hours before the dogs were found.
From there, it became clear that the 2 people that were located behind the dumpster were in fact the Esteses.
Friends and family are horrified by the news.
No.
We just couldn't believe that our friend could have been subjected to such a horrible ending.
Officers ask if they can think of anyone who would want to harm Tom and Jill.
Everyone loved them.
We want to find out if they have any enemies or anything that could lead us to a potential suspect. There wasn't anything like that in this case.
Everybody loved them, and they had no enemies. We all were horrified.
That afternoon, Festus PD call in the major case squad for assistance.
Homicide in Festus is extremely rare. A double homicide has never happened here in my career.
The major case squad is activated typically on cases where there is no clear indication on who was responsible. Cases that are characterized as true whodunits.
Detectives head straight to the Comfort Inn to question staff and guests.
Any strange vehicles parked?
I want to know if they have had any problems in the rooms or anything else that can kind of give us an idea what precipitated this horrendous event.
So tell me, did you hear any raised voices either in the hallway or coming from one of the rooms?
No, nothing like that.
Any strange vehicles parked that you didn't notice before?
No.
But no one saw or heard anything unusual. The detective's best hope now is for another kind of witness.
One of the very first things we want to look for is any surveillance cameras, because we want, obviously, to be able to focus and narrow our investigation.
The hotel's cameras can't help them.
We asked the staff about any cameras that would have covered the back lot. Unfortunately, there is nothing in the back of the hotel that covers this area.
But they're not giving up.
We're going to have to check every surveillance camera between here, where we are, and the gas station where the bodies were found.
I send investigators out to adjacent businesses to see if we have any usable video or surveillance cameras.
Their first stop is the gas station where the Estes' bodies were found. And they are in luck.
We had a camera that potentially caught the whole incident. We can have a picture of our suspect at the very beginning. What a great way to start an investigation.
Following the double homicide of Tom and Jill Estes, investigators have found a surveillance camera that they hope will expose their killer. The gas station where their bodies were found has multiple cameras. But there's a problem.
The manager is unable to get his surveillance system to work. He even called in his technician, and he tries to get this device to work, only to find out that the thing wasn't working. How frustrating was that? Very frustrating.
The clock is ticking, and the major case squad still hasn't found a single lead. At the rear of the gas station, Captain Will joins the forensic team.
As the investigators were processing the area, I lift up a little bit of the trash and immediately see a bloody shoe.
Hey, can a picture of that, please?
In the dumpster, we find the wealth of evidence, including bloody clothes, bloody shirts, bloody shorts.
A few minutes later, another breakthrough.
As we lift up the bloody shoes from the box, we find a receipt from the local Walmart. It lists a lot of items that were purchased, including a pair of shoes.
But the brand listed on the receipt is not the same as the blood-stained shoes in the box.
It became clear that the person who purchased these shoes likely put the bloody shoes back into the box and then hid them inside of the dumpster.
The receipt is from a Walmart less than a mile away, with a timestamp of 12:38 a.m., just 40 minutes after the Estes' dogs were found in the Comfort Inn parking lot.
It was very likely a person involved in this incident had visited that Walmart. It's obvious that that's the next place we need to go.
Yep. So your receipt shows 12:38 a.m. Can we cue it to before that?
The manager selects the camera overlooking the register marked on the receipt. At 12:36 a.m., a red shoebox appears on the conveyor belt.
And in fact, the shoebox appears to be the same one that we recovered. Same brand anyway.
The cashier opens the box to reveal a pair of black and white sneakers.
As the video goes along, a person comes into frame.
Frustratingly, the customer hovers on the edge of the frame, so his face cannot be seen. A number of other items move forward on the conveyor belt.
Socks and shirts and shorts. These are all things that match the receipt that we recovered from the dumpster.
Come on, move up.
As the items are going across the conveyor belt, a person comes into view.
Freeze it there. Can you zoom in?
It's a white male wearing a sleeveless gray top. But the man's features are unclear.
Okay, play on.
At 12:38, the man finally turns towards the camera.
Let's zoom in.
Captain Will can't believe what he's seeing. The man's Chicago Bears t-shirt appears to be blood-stained.
That subject is wearing a shirt that matches the one that we found inside of the dumpster. The one that's covered in blood. He doesn't give a care about anybody who sees him.
Captain Will watches as the suspect man pays in cash, then exits frame.
You got a camera on the door, right? Maybe we'll get a better view of him coming in.
The manager switches to the entrance camera.
Let's roll backwards. At 12:24, the camera shows a woman in red walking in, and then it appears to be the same individual wearing the gray sleeveless shirt.
Freeze it there.
The entrance camera footage gives Captain Will his clearest view yet of his suspect, covered head to toe in blood.
We have an individual walking into the store wearing the clothes that we find in the dumpster right next to our victims. They're covered in blood. This is the person that we want to follow up on. We finally have a good picture of his face.
Captain Will is certain he's looking at the Estes' killer, but he needs to ID him if he has any chance of catching him.
We have cameras in the parking lot, right? Okay, let's take a look at them.
The manager pulls up surveillance video from the parking lot and finds footage more horrifying than anyone ever imagined. Investigators have identified a suspect on Walmart surveillance cameras. He's covered in blood, wearing items found at the crime scene.
Surveillance footage can be much better than even an eyewitness. That definitely narrows our focus when we have camera evidence of what's going on.
Hoping to identify him, they turn their attention to his vehicle.
Can you cue it to just before he comes in?
At this time of night, the parking lot is almost empty. And it doesn't take long to spot activity.
At 12:19, we see a dark-colored truck pull onto the Walmart lot and a male subject exit the vehicle.
Was it there? Can you zoom in?
The man's sleeveless gray shirt is a dead giveaway. It's the same blood-stained suspect. He arrives at Walmart at the exact times police find blood trails at the Comfort Inn.
Okay, play on.
The man's strange behavior catches Captain Will's attention.
Let's rewind. Take another look at all that.
He appears to be manipulating something inside of the truck, then exits the truck and appears to be cleaning himself. He's there for several minutes. Then at 12:22, we can actually see him briefly go to the back of the truck. It's unclear what he's doing back there. He is taking his time. It's not something that an ordinary person would do. You would go into a parking lot and go right into a store.
There's no sign of the Estes on the footage. But Captain Will has a hunch.
Yeah, I'd like to see where he parked the truck.
When we investigate the scene where the truck was parked, we find blood. It was consistent with the trail of blood that we found on the Comfort Inn lot and the trail that was visible on the Chip 66 lot.
Captain Will believes Tom and Jill Estes were in the footage, but hidden in the truck bed. And the volume of blood reveals a gruesome insight into their final moments.
What this blood tells me is that either one or both of the victims were still alive when the truck pulled into the lot and when it left.
It's a horrifying revelation. Detectives need to identify their suspect's vehicle as quickly as possible.
If we can find out who the truck belongs to, we might have found our killer.
But the footage is too unclear to make out a license plate. Detectives put out a police-wide bulletin with a description of the dark blue truck and its driver.
I have some terrible, tragic news.
In Arkansas, the principal of Jill's elementary school breaks the news of Tom and Jill's murder.
The school and the children were devastated when we heard the news.
I can't think of a single person that would have.
It's a profound shock to the entire school community.
It was hard to walk into that building and not see Jill's face lighting up the school like it had for so many years. Just wonder, why a person like that did so much good for others would have to suffer like that for something that just seemed so senseless and for no reason. I had nightmares about it. It was just beyond my comprehension that you could kill my friend and dump her body along with her beloved husband in a dumpster.
Back in Festus, Captain Will gets a surprising lead on the case from a neighboring state.
We are contacted by Illinois investigators who tell us that they have a missing person whose blue truck was stolen.
The description of the vehicle matches the truck seen on the Walmart video. Later that afternoon, Illinois investigators locate their missing person, 65-year-old Ronald Randall.
Ronald Randall's body was discovered behind the dumpster in the Hy-Vee grocery store. It appeared that Mr. Randall suffered some kind of blunt force trauma.
He's been dead for some time, and his dark blue Chevrolet Silverado truck is nowhere to be found.
That information was vital. It showed that that vehicle was involved in a potentially similar incident that occurred in Illinois as the one we are investigating.
Illinois detectives turned to Hy-Vee surveillance cameras for clues.
We knew that there were cameras installed, and I make my way inside to speak with management about securing video.
The manager pulls up the surveillance video from Saturday, June 28th, when Ronald Randall was last seen alive.
I'm looking to try and find Mr. Randall's vehicle or anything I can identify of suspicious nature.
Finally, at 8:25 p.m., he finds something.
I observe a blue Chevy Silverado truck sitting at a gas pump.
It's a match for Ronald Randall's missing truck.
A man exits the vehicle.
Can you freeze it right there? Can we get any closer?
He's wearing a orange-colored hat with a white front, tan shorts, what appears to be a blue type undershirt, and a plaid shirt over the top.
But the driver bears no resemblance to 65-year-old Ronald Randall.
Do you have any cameras inside?
I see the same man at the counter. He purchased a 6-pack of beer, some cigarettes, and a lighter.
Detective Sermatich asked to speak to the cashier. She distinctly remembers the customer.
She said he had blood all over him.
The bloodstains aren't visible, so they switch to another camera for a closer look.
If you look closely, what's disturbing is you can see the stain on his cheek.
Convinced they have caught Ronald Randall's killer on camera, Illinois officers send the images to the major case squad in Festus to compare with their suspect. When Captain Will sees the Illinois pictures, he's certain it's his man, driving the same truck that he's seen in the Walmart video.
What makes this individual even more dangerous is the fact that he doesn't seem to care what evidence he leaves behind. He walks into the Festus Walmart covered in blood. He walks into the Hy-Vee just outside of where Ronald Randall was found with blood on his face.
The man is now suspected of 3 killings. The major case squad has a serial killer on its hands. The man suspected of murdering Tom and Jill Estes in Missouri has been linked to the brutal homicide of Ronald Randall in neighboring Illinois. That afternoon, a call comes in. Ronald Randall's blue Chevrolet Silverado has been found.
They were able to track the vehicle to a area in St. Louis. They called the St. Louis police, who recovered the vehicle.
Major case squad investigators head to the police garage, where forensic technicians are processing the vehicle.
The bed of the truck was essentially bathed in blood,
suggesting this is where Tom and Jill Estes were killed. And that's not all.
There were teeth in the back. One of the sandals that was in the truck matches the sandal that was at the scene. This was a brutal murder in which people were made to suffer, died in a horrible way. And it became clear to me that this was an individual that we had to get off the street right away.
As Captain Will leaves the crime scene, there's even more horrifying news.
I received a call from the Illinois investigators informing me about 4 more individuals that were killed in Rock Falls, Illinois.
The 4 victims were killed by blunt force trauma to the head, just like Tom and Jill Estes.
We have a person that's on the run, just killing at will. Who's going to be next?
Unfortunately, they still don't know the name of their bloodstained killer. But another call to the major case squad provides a breakthrough.
The call is in Illinois. Got some interesting information.
Police in Sterling, Illinois are investigating the homicide of 93-year-old Russell Reed 1 week earlier.
Mr. Reed was found in the trunk of his car.
Just like the other victims, Russell Reed has been bludgeoned to death. But Sterling police have a suspect.
This individual left his vehicle parked outside of Russell Reed's house, out of gas.
His name is Nicholas Sheely, a violent criminal with a lengthy record who is now on the run. Major case squad investigators are sent a mugshot of Nicholas Sheely.
It is a big moment when we compare it to video from Walmart. It appears to be the same individual.
Captain Will's prime suspect now has a name.
Nicholas Sheely is now wanted in connection with 8 homicides over a 4-day period. That makes it a spree killing.
Suspect for Russell Reed's murder?
6 of those murders took place near Sheely's hometown in northern Illinois, 300 miles from Festus.
We discovered that while he was incarcerated in prison, Sheely had developed a pen pal relationship with a young lady who lived in the Festus area.
Officers immediately track down the pen pal, Terry Engel.
Terry explains that she became pen pals with him while he was doing time in a prison. She felt like people sometimes deserve a second chance.
But Terry's opinion of Sheely quickly changed.
Realized I'd made a mistake. He was very controlling.
She felt like Sheely had gone too far when he called her during a Christmas celebration.
And he thought that I would just drop everything for him, so...
She felt like that was an invasion of family time, and at that point decided it was best that she cut off any communication with him.
Captain Will asks when Sheely last contacted her.
We discovered that not only had he been trying to locate her at her residence, but had been by her place of employment.
Terry thought it strange, but had no reason to suspect anyone was in danger until now. Sheely was in town trying to track her down on the same day that he murdered the Estises. Captain Will heads to the Lowe's store where Terry works to check for surveillance video. The Lowe's security manager pulls up surveillance footage from 2 days ago. She remembers Sheely and points him out on the video.
He appears to be loitering around. He's looking as if he's checking the area out. And then he approaches a female employee who said that he wanted to know if Terry was working.
The employee brushes him off, but Sheely won't take no for an answer.
Manager was called, and Sheely waits for him. And then the manager has a protracted discussion with him. It's concerning in that he is willing to talk to so many people and to be pushy about getting information about Terry.
Sheely fails to track down Terry. After 10 minutes in the store, he finally gives up and leaves.
The Lowe's video told us that Sheely was in the Festus area on the 29th looking for Terry.
Just 12 hours before he killed the Estises. Concerned for Terry's welfare, Captain Will assigns an undercover team to monitor Terry's home. While detectives are working to find Sheely in Festus, Illinois investigators interview Sheely's wife, Holly. She's clearly shocked by the allegations against her husband and tells police she and Nick had had an argument over a week ago. She's not seen him since, but she has heard from him.
He has contacted her from various unknown numbers, and he has sent her photographs.
Their pictures are like tourist photos from St. Louis, I think.
Why one would take a picture of the arch or a construction crane after committing a homicide is beyond me. Many of the photographs contain notes from Sheely to his wife. And he talked about his love for his wife and how much he missed her, how he was relaxing on a park bench, but could only do so for a moment. That's very telling, because this is a man who knows he's wanted and a man who's on the run.
But these photos will prove to be his undoing.
These photographs are important to us because they're time-stamped.
In the photos stamped June 29th, Sheely is wearing the clothes that were found in the dumpster.
The pictures that were stamped on the 30th are of particular interest because now he is wearing a clean white t-shirt, what appear to be brand new shorts and brand new shoes.
Items purchased at the Walmart. Crucially, the photograph suggests Sheely is still in the St. Louis area. And now, the hunt is really on. The Major Case Squad releases Nicholas Sheely's name and photograph to the media.
We knew that getting the word out to hundreds of thousands of people would give us 100,000 different eyes to look for the subject.
Police in Illinois are searching for this man in connection with a string of 8 killings that have terrified residents in 2 states. They're listing Nicholas T. Sheely as a person of interest in at least 5 deaths in western Illinois, and they say he may be connected to 3 others there and in Missouri.
Meanwhile, Holly Sheely allows the FBI to monitor her cell phone. It's not long before her husband calls.
Hey.
With the help of the FBI, Holly's phone is monitored so we can capture any information from phone calls he makes to her.
Listen, this call.
Holly urges her husband to turn himself in.
You really need to call an attorney. Okay, bye.
The FBI tell us that Sheely was in the area of the St. Louis Busch Stadium.
Investigators race to the stadium.
We flooded the area with detectives and police officers and were still unable to locate him. One of my primary concerns was the fact that Nicholas Sheely no longer had Mr. Randall's truck. Now I've got a man who has killed 8 people and no longer has transportation. It's just a matter of time before he would find another victim to kill and take their vehicle.
Investigators must find Sheely before he strikes again. Investigators are in hot pursuit of suspected spree killer Nicholas Sheely, who's hiding somewhere in the shadows of St. Louis. In a bar in nearby Granite City, a customer is watching the evening news.
They say Nicholas Sheely is wanted in connection with 5 murders in Illinois. They say he may be responsible for...
As she's watching the screen, she looks across the bar and she realizes she is sitting next to a man wanted for 8 murders.
Police say Sheely was last spotted in St. Louis, and that he should not be approached, as he may be armed. Sheely has already served time, and has multiple...
Excuse me.
Weapons.
I realized I need to grab some cash. I'm going to use the ATM outside.
She doesn't have far to go.
Officer!
And she quickly comes upon an officer and reports what she has seen inside the bar.
I saw him on the news. He killed all those people.
After a week on the run, Sheely's killing spree is over. Over the next 6 years, Nicholas Sheely is found guilty of all 6 Illinois murders. In 2018, Sheely is transferred to Missouri to face trial for the murder of Tom and Jill Estes. Prosecutors are clear on what they believe happened during Sheely's murderous rampage in June 2008. On June 23rd, in his hometown of Sterling, Illinois, Sheely needed money for drugs. He knew that 93-year-old Russell Reed, who had given him scrap metal in the past, kept cash in the house. He bludgeoned the elderly man to death, then helped himself to his money.
He loved his hockey. It was their thing. He was so present in his son's life. They did everything together. He was meant to take care of kids and give them a second chance. Ricardo Eby is doing everything he can to be a positive influence in these kids' life. He's stabbed 3 times in the chest, and he's left for dead. Is there an old score to settle? Is this something from Ricardo's past? We have this murderer out on the street. Everybody was scared. A lot of the details were just so gruesome. The final moments of Ricardo Heavy's life must have been horrifically terrifying. December 2018, Winnipeg, Canada. Ricardo Eby has a lot to be grateful for this holiday season. He and his fiancée, Candace, are planning a big wedding in the new year, and he's found success in the real estate business. But growing up in Winnipeg's North End, this happy picture was far from guaranteed. North End. Winnipeg is a place that has substance abuse issues related to crime. It's a city that has some real struggles. Ricardo's early years, he had a lot of tumultuous relationships in his life, with family or guardians. He kind of had to navigate on his own. We went to the same high school. His energy was so enigmatic, like everybody wanted to be around him. We just met one night, and the rest was history. His parents separated when he was young. They both left Winnipeg. He stayed because he didn't want to leave, so he ended up staying with one of his friends. We talked about his childhood. It was very broken. On Ricardo's 16th birthday, an act of kindness changes his life. One of his friends, his mom, took him in. She was a single mom raising her own kids, and she was a foster mom as well. She just took him in, supporting him. As long as he went to school, that was the deal. And he kept that deal with her and got good grades. He was actually an honor roll student. He calls her Supermom. After Ricardo graduates from high school in 2002, he is touched by another act of kindness that changes his life. We met through a mutual friend of ours, Sean. I've been doing home renovations and construction for 15 years now. He's like, "Oh, would you mind if I work with you? I'm not going to get paid. I just wouldn't mind, somebody teaching me how to do these things," I said. "Yeah, absolutely." Over the next several years, Ricardo learns Richard's business and eventually becomes his partner. He was successful in real estate. He could have retired probably by the time he was 45 if he would have kept at it. Then, in December 2010, when he's 26 years old, a mutual friend introduces him to Candace Walasha. He was this mean-looking guy, but so friendly and nice. So he was laughing his smile right away, and then we just hit it off there. He said, "You're mine." And I said, "Okay." He ended up signing his name on me that night, and I came home and my mom was like, "What the hell is on you?" And I was like, "Oh God." I was like, "I found my love." I'm like, "He signed me. So we're stuck together now." I was like, "I found my forever." And I did. I really did. A year and a half later, Candace gives birth to a baby boy. I can't even explain it. Just seeing his eyes holding Junior, that was his world. Everything was about him. He had to be with him 24/7. On December 14th, 2014, 2 years after Junior is born, Ricardo asks Candace to marry him. He was really excited to get married. That was kind of the last little bit to solidify their family as a unit. But a chance encounter puts those plans on hold. A couple of friends were doing group homework, and I think when he went there, he looked at these youth, and he saw part of himself in these kids. A group home is an environment where multiple people who are vulnerable live together. And it really hits home that these teenagers are just like him, who need stability, who need guidance. Ricardo decides that the best way to repay the acts of kindness that turned his life around is to create his own group home for at-risk teens. He just kind of followed his calling. He was meant to take care of kids and, give them a second chance. Transforming a property he owns into a group home takes several months and becomes Ricardo's sole focus. He even decides to postpone his wedding so he can fully concentrate on his newfound mission. He signed up with an agency which then certified him. He was approved, and 3 teenagers were placed in his care. He gets to do what he loves, and he gets to keep kids off the street. And the kids loved him. He would take them to the gym. He was adamant on them going to school. He did everything with them. He wanted them to do better. They would laugh, like they would even call him the dad. They looked up to him. It was like home. We'd have supper there with the kids. Our kid was there all the time. By the winter of 2018, 4 years after he proposed to Candace, Ricardo is ready to plan their long overdue wedding. We planned his wedding party. I was supposed to be the best man at his wedding. He wanted to proceed with it and to get married. As Christmas approaches, Ricardo takes his family out for one of the favorite activities he enjoys sharing with his son, cheering on the Winnipeg Jets. He loved his hockey. It was their thing. Like every Jets game they'd be watching, screaming. He just wanted him to be... His main thing was hockey. That's what he wanted him to do. It was him and his son at the Jets game. He had season tickets, so he would always go to all the games and bring his son. He was so present in his son's life. They did everything together. You could just see he's just so happy and laughing. They don't know that this happy night will be their final moments together as a family. On December 17th, Ricardo agrees to give his former business partner a hand with one of his construction jobs. At lunchtime, he tells Richard he's got to go run an errand. I remember it vividly. Every time we leave for the night, we're not going to see each other until the next day. He would always do like this side fist bump to me. And so the day of. He was saying he has to go home. Then he's going to get something to eat, and he'll meet me back at the house. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then he did one of those fist bumps. And I remember it was like my brain took a picture of it. Because I looked over and I seen his hand, and I remember like almost taking a picture of my hand touching his hand. I looked at his hand and I pulled my hand back, and I was thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm going to see you in 20 minutes. I just had this intuition that that was the last time I was going to speak to him. At 2:30 p.m., a call comes in to the Winnipeg police reporting a disturbance at Ricardo Hebe's group home. Ricardo Hebe was on the phone with a lawyer at the time. So the lawyer hears a commotion, knows that there's something wrong. The lawyer calls 911, and patrol units are immediately dispatched to Ricardo's group home. They find Ricardo Hebe on the ground, covered in blood. Detectives try to decipher a clue that could crack the case. Nobody is lying. Somebody knows something about that blood stain on the door. While they grapple with the question of who would want Ricardo Hebe dead, we have the citizens coming together in uproar, thinking, what is going on in our city? What did he do wrong? Nothing. He opened the door. He's trying to defend his home and defend the children in his care. I didn't see real. I lost it because it was like a nightmare. Winnipeg police responding to the group home run by Ricardo Hebe find him critically injured after being attacked and clinging to life. You're looking at a chaotic scene. He's stabbed 3 times in the chest. He's left for dead. He's bleeding out. They're going to do whatever they can to save his life. The paramedics take him to the hospital as quickly as possible. As Ricardo fights for his life, the search for clues about what happened to him immediately gets underway. The forensic unit attend the crime scene and collect all the blood samples. They're going to collect DNA samples from different surfaces. Maybe the offender got caught in a struggle and has blood on the floor. Detectives also launch an urgent search for witnesses. They discover that 2 of the 3 teenaged residents of the group home were in the house when Ricardo was attacked. "These kids," he said. "They were in their rooms at the time when this happened." The investigators have to consider everything and everyone. This attack could have been connected to any one of the 3 boys that lived there. As the investigators interview the teens at the crime scene, they have their colleagues back at the police station check into the residents' backgrounds. Investigators ask the gang unit and the drug unit if there's any open investigations involving the group home or the people who live in the group home. But they find the opposite, that Ricardo Eby is running a really clean ship, and he's doing everything he can to be a positive influence in these kids' life. They actually have a lot of respect for him, and they speak very highly of him. The teens also tell the police there's one more resident of the group home who's known to everyone as C.H., but they haven't seen him all day. C.H. was not there at the time. It's imperative that the investigators find C.H. and interview him as well. Detectives get the addresses of C.H. in school and work and begin trying to track him down. As they do, word comes that this has just become a homicide case. Ricardo Eby was pronounced dead at the hospital. Ricardo's fiancée, Candace, is home when she gets the call that turns her world upside down. Hearing the words that he's dead didn't seem real. I lost it because it was like a nightmare. I couldn't speak, I couldn't think, I couldn't breathe half the time. Would lay there like begging him to come back. He was my everything. Losing him literally destroyed my life. I'll never forget that phone call. Because all I could hear was Ricardo's dead. And instantly I dropped the phone. I couldn't breathe. I fell down. I was crying. Thank God my husband was carrying our child because I was completely distraught. It was just heart-wrenching. As Ricardo's stunned loved ones try to cope with the terrible news, Winnipeg detectives continue looking for reasons and potential suspects. Why did the suspect do this? Is there an old score to settle? Is this maybe something from Ricardo's way past and somebody has asked this guy to go there and kill him? Who knows? But you have to. You can't rule out any of these options. He didn't have any enemies. He didn't have anybody that had a personal vendetta against him. He never screwed somebody over. Investigators examining the crime scene make a major discovery that they hope will shed light on what happened. There's a camera showing the exterior of the residence, so it would show anyone coming out to the door. Police are able to quickly review the surveillance video, and when they do, they learn the camera was an eyewitness to the murder. They are able to play back Ricardo Eby's final moments. The surveillance footage shows a man in a black coat walking up to the group home. There is a brief interaction. You can't hear what's said, but the man in the black coat pulls out a knife, stabs Ricardo 3 times. The crime was shocking. Here's a guy who is running a group home for vulnerable children. What did he do wrong? Nothing. He opened the door. He's trying to defend his home and defend the children in his care. And then he gets stabbed. The final moments of Ricardo Eby's life must have been horrifically terrifying. Despite showing the murder, the footage yields no clues to the identity of Ricardo's killer. Unfortunately, the images are grainy. They're fuzzy, and they're just not good. The exterior camera showed the suspect wearing a black jacket with a fur-trimmed hood. The hood was up. The footage shows that Ricardo's attacker approached from the street and never entered the house. The 2 kids who were in the house, they're ruled out at this point. For detectives, it's now more urgent to find the one resident who was not home at the time of the murder. C.H. It's imperative that the investigators find C.H. and interview him. Maybe he knows something that the other kids didn't know, and also to be able to account for his location at the time the offense happened. It's not clear where C.H. was at the time of Ricardo Eby's death. Police are just trying to piece together if he's connected to all of this. The day after Ricardo Hibby is stabbed to death, detectives are urgently searching for the one resident of Ricardo's group home who cannot be accounted for, a teen known to his friends as CH. At this point, the investigators still haven't tracked down CH. The first obvious place to check would be the school and his place of work. It turns out that he didn't attend either of them on that day, which is a little weird because he was expected to be in school, and he was scheduled to be at work. But he didn't show up for either, and there's no account of where he is or where he could be. So they cannot rule him out or rule him in any way at this point. News of Ricardo's murder spreads through Winnipeg, stirring both grief and anger. This was quite a high-profile murder in Winnipeg. It affected a lot of people. And the question I kept coming back to was, for what? Why did this happen? There's really no clear answer. I thought it was just so brutal because of the fact that Ricardo was quite a pillar in the north end of Winnipeg. It was just such a sad story. I mean, this man dedicated his life to trying to help young men who were in a similar position to him. So it seemed just so tragic that he would die while doing something good for the community. It just felt very cold and brutal. We have the citizens coming together in uproar, thinking, what is going on in our city? We have this murderer out on the streets. We're all going out in support because we don't want this to die in the media. We want it to be up close and personal with every resident of this city, because this is all of our issue. You know, it was my best friend who lost his life, but it could be my neighbors tomorrow. Everybody was scared. And so I think pushing it in the media was the only way that we were going to get any traction with finding this guy. 2 days after Ricardo Ebay's murder, as detectives continue to search for CH, police get an unexpected visitor. On December 19th, CH arrived at police headquarters and tells the officer at the desk that he understands that homicide investigators want to speak to him. He tells police that he doesn't know who would have had reason to attack Ricardo. He doesn't believe it had anything to do with him. He certainly denies being part of the attack or having any knowledge whatsoever of it. The investigators want to know, where was he at the time of the attack? CH tells the investigators that he was at his girlfriend's house. His alibi is that he spent the whole afternoon with her, and that's why he didn't go to school, and that's why he didn't go to work. He said that he was dealing with some relationship issues, and that's why he hadn't come forward. And he claims that he didn't know anything about the homicide until he had recently heard about it that police wanted to speak with him. CH says that he was with his girlfriend, Trinity Moore. Police now have to confirm that alibi. CH gives detectives Trinity's address. They head straight to her house to check his story. When police arrive at Trinity's address, they see that there's a blood stain on her front door. Trinity denies any knowledge of it, and she says that's the first time that she's seen that blood. Trinity consents to police taking samples from the blood that's found on her front door. The blood samples are sent to the police lab for testing as detectives continue their interview with Trinity. They ask if she can confirm CH's alibi, that he was with her on December 17th, the day of the murder. Trinity told the investigators that CH does come over a lot, and he stays over there, and he spends lots of time with her at her home. However, she says that on the day of the homicide, he was not there. In fact, Trinity tells the detectives she hasn't seen CH in days. He sang that he was there all day. She said, no, he wasn't. So someone's lying. Everybody knows something about that blood stain on the door. Detectives investigating the stabbing death of Ricardo Hibby believe a teenaged resident of Ricardo's group home has lied to them about where he was at the time of the murder. CH says that he was with his girlfriend, Trinity Moore, but she said that she didn't see CH that day. With his alibi in doubt, investigators now wait to see if DNA tests on the blood found on Trinity's door can connect CH to the murder. But they also have some follow-up questions for him. This time, CH is easier to locate. They find him standing outside the group home where he lives. CH tells them that Trinity is mistaken, and he said that sometimes she takes medication and she forgets things. But he's actually angry that she says that he wasn't there, because he is adamant that he was there. His alibi is very shaky, but there is no physical evidence to tie him to the scene. At this point, there is certainly not enough evidence to charge CH with anything. 4 days after Ricardo's murder, just 4 days before Christmas. The DNA test results from the bloodstains on Trinity's door come in. Those bloodstains came back as a match to Ricardo Hibe's DNA. It is not contaminated with anybody else's DNA. It is Ricardo Hibe's DNA, and it is definitely something that happened after his attack. This is a huge break in the case because now there is a direct link from the crime scene to Trinity's front door. So somebody who killed Ricardo went through that front door and deposited Ricardo's blood on the door. The test results convinced detectives that Trinity knows more than she's told them about how Ricardo's blood got on her door. They rushed back to her home to confront her, and that's when her story about the day of the murder changes. She says that CH was there, that he was actually hiding in the back room. Trinity told the investigators that they have a rocky relationship at this time, and they had a fight. She says her brother Kane became aware of the altercation that she had had with CH and was furious. She didn't tell her brother that CH was in the back room, and her brother Kane left and he went looking for CH. She actually provided her brother with the address of the group home, and when he came back, he'd had blood on him. And as he left the blood on the door handle at the front of the house, she says that he shows up. She sees his hands are bloody, and she sees him in possession of a knife, and she observes there's blood on it. Was he looking to find CH and thought he killed CH? Or was he just lashing out at somebody? There's a couple of different possibilities here. The investigators show Trinity the images from the security camera from the front of the house where the attack is captured. She actually tells the investigators that her brother Kane has a jacket like that. Trinity told investigators that she hadn't seen her brother since the day of Ricardo's murder. She lied to police because she didn't want to get her brother in trouble. She was trying to protect her boyfriend as well. With Trinity's statement, CH is cleared of any suspicion. Now the investigation has taken a completely different turn. It looks now like Kane Moore is the #1 suspect. Once he was identified as a suspect, the investigators are going to look at his record. Kane had a history of violence. He had a history of unprovoked attacks. Kane went to Stony Mountain, which is just outside Winnipeg. It's a federal prison. It's for serious and violent offenders. While he's in the penitentiary, he's involved in another serious incident. He's a suspect in another stabbing inside in the penitentiary. Kane was facing charges related to the death of another inmate. Despite the pending charges, investigators learned that in October 2018, 2 months before Ricardo was stabbed to death, Kane Moore was granted parole and released from prison. He's a very dangerous person, but he was not designated a dangerous offender by the courts. He wasn't even supposed to be out on the street. In his parole documents, it stated that he is high risk to reoffend, and somehow he was let out. When I found out, I was furious. How do you allow someone out who killed someone inside if you can't protect people in there? How are you supposed to protect them out? He's very volatile, and he's got a very dangerous background. So it's urgent to find him as soon as possible. Winnipeg detectives are on the hunt for 21-year-old Kane Moore, the prime suspect in the murder of Ricardo Hibe. At this point of the investigation, the investigators have to find Kane Moore. It is imperative that they find Kane Moore. Kane's sister, Trinity, tells the detectives that she has not seen or heard from him since December 17th, the day of the murder. Investigators begin tracking down other family members, hoping for a lead to his whereabouts. His family are somewhat cooperative. They say that they haven't seen him in quite some time, but it can only be taken at face value because they could quite easily shelter him. The investigators went to all the known hangouts and the areas where Kane Moore has frequented and is known to frequent. They're not getting the best cooperation in these neighborhoods. Nobody wants to be seen speaking to the investigators. Nobody certainly wants to cooperate with them, and they draw a blank. They're not getting anywhere. Kane Moore's parole has been revoked at this point. So the investigators get a Canada-wide warrant for Kane Moore. They'd circulate a bulletin with his picture and his description to every officer. After 2 weeks of an intensive search that began just before Christmas, police still have no sightings of Kane. Nobody knows where he is. It looks like he's gone to ground and nobody can find him. He's on the run. It was a brutal holiday season for Ricardo's friends and family. They're dealing with this awful tragedy, but they also have no answers. There are very few details at this point about where the main suspect in this murder is. It took a huge toll on me. Physically, mentally. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping from the stress of it. That just completely shattered everybody. It's unexplainable. My brain was numb. I just was trying to, soak in the shock. Another week goes by with no progress in the manhunt. Then, on January 6, 2019, cadets that work with the Winnipeg Police Service came across an individual that was just walking around, walking on the street, and they were concerned that he was intoxicated. They approached the individual who provided them with a false name. However, when they detained him for being intoxicated and they searched his pocket, they found identification in the name of Kane Moore in a photograph that matched him. Once cadets clue in and realize that they have the main suspect in Ricardo Hebe's murder, they call detectives immediately. The cadets take Kane into custody and bring him to the station. Kane Moore was arrested wearing a black winter jacket. The man who appeared in the surveillance video taken of Ricardo Hebe's death was also wearing a black jacket. But when detectives show Kane the images from Ricardo Hebe's security camera, he insists it's not him. He doesn't give anything up. Kane Moore clams up. He denies any involvement in the murder, and he asks for a lawyer. Ken Moore never admits to attacking Ricardo Hebe, and he never admits to killing him. But when investigators examine the jacket Kane was wearing when he was arrested, they make a critical discovery. Police found bloodstains inside that jacket. Investigators test the blood that's found in this black jacket, and the DNA matches Ricardo Hebe's DNA. Kane Moore is arrested for the murder of Ricardo Hebe. There's a lot of inexplicable killings that occur, but in this case, even though there was no clear motive, there is enough evidence to suggest that Mr. Moore was upset with CH. Kane Moore wanted to get into the house to find CH, and Ricardo blocked him. He was protecting the kids in his house and doing what he was supposed to do. And Kane Moore wanted to get in there and lashed out the way he always does. Violently. Kane Moore is charged with 1 count of second-degree murder. Ricardo Hebe's loved ones are shocked to find out he was killed by a stranger. Kane Moore. He's never been around us. We never had him at the house. Like, we had no idea who he was. The news kind of came out that it was just some random guy. I was angry. Will I ever sit down and have a conversation if this guy asks me for forgiveness? I don't think I could do that. Kane Moore's trial begins in September 2020. Prosecutors are confident they have the evidence to convict him of murder. They call their star witness, Trinity Moore, the accused killer's sister, to the stand and ask her about what she saw the day Ricardo was murdered. Trinity Moore gave a sworn statement to police that her brother Kane Moore showed up, that she saw he had bloody hands. Trinity Moore recants her statement when she's called as a witness. She tells a completely different story when Trinity Moore changed her story. Now there's the possibility of an acquittal. Kane Moore is on trial for the murder of Ricardo Hebe. Prosecutors expect his sister Trinity to testify that he came to her home after the murder, covered with blood, and confessed. But her testimony stuns them. When she gets up on the stand, she completely contradicts what she had told investigators. She says that her brother was not involved and never came over. She said that when she spoke to police. She didn't know what she was saying because she was high and drunk at the time. When Trinity made the 180 turn on her story, it throws a wrench in the prosecution's case. But even without Trinity's testimony, prosecutors can make their case to the jury solely based on the physical evidence. That black coat that Kane Moore was arrested wearing wound up being a central piece of evidence. There was video surveillance and forensic DNA evidence. We played the surveillance video that showed the individual approaching the residence, and we showed the actual stabbing. We also showed Kane Moore leaving the house. The video surveillance and the forensic DNA evidence links him to that house. Candace was there every single day. She seemed extremely strong given the circumstances. But when that surveillance video was played in court, she left sobbing. But she was there, start to finish. I don't really know how she did it, because a lot of the details were just so gruesome. The jury deliberates for 6 hours, and on September 24th, 2020, reaches its verdict. He was convicted of second-degree murder. He's got a life sentence with no chance of parole for 15 years. For Ricardo's family and friends, the sentence only adds to their pain. He did not deserve anything less but life in prison with no eligibility for parole. And that's something that is still hurting us, because he's still going to be eligible to come out eventually. It's a really sad irony, because Kane Moore is the exact type of young man Ricardo Hibe would have wanted to help. So you can't help but wonder if things could have gone differently. That didn't need to end up like that. I accepted that there's nothing I could have changed. There's nothing that anybody could have done. It wasn't supposed to be for him. This shouldn't even happen. He was taken from me. Not having him around, I am very, very lost, despite the pain they live with every day. Ricardo's loved ones try to stay strong and keep Ricardo's memory alive, especially for his son, Junior. Everybody dealt with it in their own way. I still have a good relationship with his son. I'm godfather to his son. I've made him a promise when he was alive, and I'm just fulfilling that promise to look after his son. I want people to know that his heart was there. He wanted the best for these kids. It's just everyone knows his legacy of his life and his smile and just how genuine he is, and that's why I want to keep going. Our son has love for hockey, so he's an all-star now. Ready. He wants to play the Jets, he says. I said, do it. Your dad would be proud. He would watch you. He's a little hockey star now. But now I'm a hockey mom, so I got this. I did it for him and his dad.